The all-time leading scorer in Alabama history, which is actually 8th in Alabama history, to go along with 1,700 career rebounds. He's had a good career at Alabama. You've got to cover him at the three-point line.
And look at Ayton with the face-up jumper. You just look at his body and you think
what the record is.
Rejection, Hall on wristage, batted around, and then Ayton goes up and is fouled. And Ayton's an excellent free throw shooter. Yeah, those losses they had were in the battle for Atlantis. They lost 3 straight, including the last game of that tournament by 25 against Purdue. But they've rebounded to win 3 in a row. They were down 11 against UNLV, came back to win in overtime, and you think UNLV is a tournament team, so that's a good win for Arizona.
I think it is going to be a good win at the end of the season. You look at the Mountain West Conference, it's Nevada and UNLV at the top of the conference this year. But you mentioned losing 3 games in a row. All right, so Florida lost 3 games in a row. They lost to Duke, they lost to Florida State, and then they lost to Loyola Chicago. Now they're ranked 5th in the country. They come back today and they beat Cincinnati. So where are they? Coming out of the PK80, everyone's like, okay, Florida could be a Final Four quality team. But now all of a sudden we're jumping off that train. The overreaction to early season matchups, I think, is
Tucson.
Record is, and I know they're not going to be a top 10 team in the rankings when they come out on Monday. But if you told Billy Kennedy that he lost to an unranked team this week and it was by the name of Arizona, he would laugh at you and say, come on, who are you kidding? This is one of the best teams in college basketball. That's why Avery Johnson schedules this way. He wants to play against the best competition. When he goes out and recruits guys like Petty and Sexton, he tells them, hey, we want to play the best, and we're going to go play them on the road, and we're going to play them at home. And that's how games like this materialize. And it's great for the game, too.
It also helps that Greg Byrne is the athletic director at Alabama, and he was the AD at Arizona last year. Shot clock at 2. Sexton has to let it fly. He was practicing those shots in warm-ups from about 28 feet, but it wouldn't fall. He made plenty of them, though, in pregame. Here's Alonzo Trier. I mean, they beat A&M with him not having a great game. He was just 2 of 7 from the floor, and that's 7 points as Ayton hits the jumper.
12 in steals all season long.
By the way, you and I both had a chance to talk to Lorenzo today. He's very happy. He loves working for Sean Miller. Their personalities are so different, but obviously as Ayton just, though, see how aggressive he is offensively, and got lucky there. He didn't turn it over. Wristage. I don't know if that was a shot or a pass. They're going to wave it off and say basket interference on DeAndre Ayton.
That's one of those you get caught in between. Am I shooting this or am I passing it? And the confusion didn't just confuse himself, he confused his teammate as well. That's a good call.
Told earlier today,
I got to see it to believe it.
That DeAndre Ayton, he can touch the top of the backboard. The white there. I mean, he got up that. Well, I don't know if you heard the other night, but the other guy was broadcasting the game with as Ayton is fouled. He said, Bill Walton, he said that he thought that Ayton was the most talented big to come into college basketball since Shaq. I was talking with Avery about that this morning. Avery Johnson said, did Bill see Tim Duncan play?
Yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan, people forget. Tim Duncan might be the most overlooked player in the history of basketball because of the lack of personality. You know, like he wasn't a look at me kind of guy, and people forget how dominant he was.
But I get it. They're very different players, right? I mean, you look at Ayton, he's more of a Shaq type player, although he has the jumper, where Duncan wasn't as much of a power player. He was more of a finesse player. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Can weather this early storm here by Arizona. Randolph for the answer. Has not scored in the game. And Jackson Cartwright's done a really good job on him. Sexton, great shot off the glass. And players fouling out. He had 40 points and almost single by Trier, but it's right to Norris. He couldn't hit the 3 though, and Ayton with his 8th rebound. He wanted the challenge of being able to develop young men, and he saw Alabama, as Ayton is called for the foul here on Sexton.
Moved into a complimentary role with the influx of freshmen.
Oh, he just changed the game. He's hit 4 straight free throws. His energy has led this 8-0 run in less than 2 minutes that has tied the game at 26. Now he's going to go to the bench now. They want to be careful again not to get that 3rd foul on him before halftime.
To knock down contested 3-point shots. The zone has also changed the pace of the game and put it in Alabama's favor. It was a great adjustment by Avery Johnson.
First field goal attempt of the game for Trier. Only took 7 shots the other night against Texas A&M, a game they won. Timers at 5. Open look for Norris. And Trier, great look.
Sometimes I just love this job. When you can watch guys make plays like that in transition and finish like that.
And 5 straight points now for Arizona after the 8-0 run by Trier, trying to shake the defender, finds Ayton. Ayton falling away. Ingram puts up an air ball.
That's just the Ayton effect, to be honest with you.
Randolph fired that off the window.
More of a physical presence underneath, but both of them are extremely talented. I saw Bagley at his best at the PK 80. I think he had 86 points and 45 rebounds in 3 games up there against really good competition. I'd like to see DeAndre Ayton, as some would say, become more of a shot blocker. Defensively, he keeps his hands a little bit lower than he should.
He's pretty darn good on offense, though.
Yeah.
Wow. Points at worst. The fact that Colin Sexton didn't play much in the first half with foul trouble, you got to feel okay about it if you're Avery Johnson, although Smith commits a silly foul. They're putting 8 in the line.
You know, you talk about DeAndre Ayton and his numbers. This is the year of the bigs in college basketball. And one of them played against Ayton last week at UNLV. And Brandon McCoy is the real deal. 33 points, 10 rebounds in the matchup, the head-to-head matchup against Ayton. And just such a talented player for Marvin Menzies. Dealt with some knee injuries coming out of high school, and you'll get a chance to see him after our game tonight. It's Illinois at UNLV at the MGM Garden Arena, an off-campus game that they play every single year on the Strip. And you get a chance to see another great big that probably will be in the NBA next year as well.
Usual, he shoots in the mid-70s percentage-wise, and Sexton is back out there again, playing with 2 personal fouls, but it's hard for him not to attack. That's his game. Here's Ayton from outside, can't get that.
Times, I mean, very rarely do you see it extended away from his body.
2-point game, 6 minutes gone by here in the second half. Here's Sexton with Jackson Cartwright defending him for most of the game so far. Ayton goes for the block, a beautiful inside by Ingram. Ayton with his first rebound of the half. He's got 10 boards now. And another.
And you leave your feet to go rebound, and underneath you stands Colin Sexton, who's generously.
Yeah, clearly inadvertent there. I mean, Sexton's a foot shorter, and Ayton's coming down with the ball. Although it'd be interesting to see how they rule this.
That's like a WWE type move right there.
We saw Draymond Green do that several times, and there was debate as to whether it was intentional or not. Now, there was some history there with Draymond too that led to some strong opinions. There isn't with DeAndre Ayton, so how will that influence the officials? This is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
No, I mean, because the extension of the leg right there out, is that a natural basketball rebounding motion?
And John Higgins is right there looking at it.
And this is going to turn into a longer discussion than I think anybody in this building wants to have.
Originally, I thought it was innocuous. I think looking at it there, it may not have been inadvertent, or it may not have been intentional, but I think it was flagrant. Because you're not necessarily judging intent on that. Is that a basketball play?
No, it's not.
So it's a flagrant then.
It's also not a natural motion. I mean, you don't see guys swinging their legs out on rebounds on a consistent basis.
The officials are still discussing it. He's so skilled. He's got incredible feet. Here's Trier for 3.
Sexton went too early. He should have allowed his screener to get set prior to looking to attack off of him. An example of it, see the screener is still moving, and Sexton was already into step 2.
And they're going to call Lee now for Both teams shooting better than 60% from the floor in the second half. Ingram penetrates. It's the first time these two teams have met since 1990. In fact, it's the third meeting all time. The other two were in the NCAA tournament. Another foul is called.
And Jones holding Trier as he's going across the lane away from the ball.
Back to Ristic. Short. Ayton's tip is good though. 24 for Ayton to go with.
Straighted foul.
He's just 3 of 6 at the line tonight. DeAndre Ayton, who matched his. Well, he got a rebound on the defensive end, so now he's got a career high 16 rebounds. 3 of 7 at the line tonight. Again, this is a guy that shoots around 72% at the foul line. From the Bahamas, moved to San Diego when he was in his early teens, and then eventually to Phoenix.
You mentioned what he shoots at the free throw line is 72%. You know what he shoots from about 2 feet away? 100%.
Yeah. Not the second one.
Great foul. Take the split.
Right, exactly.
1 for 2, you're feeling.
Ayton thought about the jumper there, elected not to take it. Now he will, and he hits it to make it a 4-point game. Petty for 3, way off the mark.
Last 2 possessions, Colin Sexton hasn't really been part of the offense. I think that is a major mistake for Alabama.
It'll be Trier against Petty. Here comes the Ayton screen. Ayton just inside the elbow. So personal highs. And
broadcast telling you these are 2 of the very best and most talented players in the country. And when you look at these numbers, you don't have to think real hard to figure out why. And Sexton, his ability to get to the free throw line and convert tonight has been outstanding. And then DeAndre Ayton, the 18 rebounds. And a lot of those coming. Remember,